afternoon, welcome to the channel. My name is Ian, you are?
Jason.
Hey.
Hello there.
I normally go, this is Ian, this is Jason. This is Aesthetica Film Festival, which we've been doing loads of videos, they're all linked down below. We have now left good old York and Yorkshire, and we are back in the southwest of the country, but Aesthetica still goes on, and it goes on until the end of the month. So we are going to tell you our top 5 things each. We don't know what each other's choosing. The top 5 films or things to see. But first of all, it's worth mentioning that you can buy a monthly pass to all of the online. I was going to say all of the online films, but I found one film that isn't there so far. So there may be others. Or you can just buy a day pass. I think that's £30. You're probably better off buying it for the whole month. So it'll go on until the end of the month. The other thing is that there is an Aesthetica Magazine deal until the end of November 2024. You can have a year subscription and it's bi-monthly, every 2 months, for £12 plus shipping. So
£2.
Sorry,
£2 a mag. It's pretty.
Yeah,
good, right?
I mean, the shipping is £9 in the UK.
Okay.
Obviously, it'd be more abroad, but I mean, for £21 to get what is a very, very high-class magazine, not only in its photographic content, but actually, you know, the stuff that's actually in the magazine. They've got all sorts of reviews of music and art, and you know, and they tell you what's going on. I've got the current copy, which I'm enjoying reading. But early December, I get my subscription, and you can pick when you want it to start. So if you wanted it to start now, you'd get the October-November edition, or if you wanted it to start in December, January, you do that.
Do you get an online option for that as well? Can you read?
There isn't.
Online?
I think there is an online option.
Right. Most do a digital subscription, don't they? Included.
I don't know whether that's included as part of my package. I'll be honest, because I'm going to get a paper version, I don't really need that. Right. But I know you can get just a digital subscription if you wanted that, I don't know if it's going to be cheaper than the £12 a month, but
let's check it out.
Check it out.
Probably
definitely worth looking at. So, just to say a little bit about logging on to the website. It's fairly straightforward. You do have to set up an account, and they want some. So we've got somebody walking upstairs. They do want some data, so they want your phone number, your email address, stuff like that, obviously credit card details to pay for it. And once you've done that, you can then use it via your email account, and you set up a password. And you can log on to any digital device, really. I haven't logged on to the phone, it's too small for me. I have logged on an iPad. There is a slight issue with iPad, which I'll come back to. I've looked at it on my smart TV. Now, I've got quite an old smart TV, and it was a pain because I literally had to...
Semi-smart.
It's semi-smart, it's not very bright yet. I literally had to put the web address in letter by letter with the remote control on my smart TV. Other people can do other things, you know. So that was a pain, but once it was on, it was fine. And I've also looked at it on my Mac. It's not my laptop, but my Mac, my studio Mac, and it was great. That's probably the best way to look at it.
I'll give it a go. I've just had a couple of days off on film now. 60, 70 films.
Well, that's fine. I've watched another. Well, today I've watched about another 6. It's quite nice to sit in bed with a cup of tea in the morning, because I'm not one to get up early and, you know, sit
Your
there.
kids are all grown up.
You see, I can do that. And actually, Jane brought me a cup of tea, and I said, "Look, I'm working, love. I'm working. I'm watching films." So it's just it was quite nice to do for a while. And then I got up to do other things. But while I was, you know, if I had like a spare 15 minutes, it's quite nice to look through. I was looking through this actually, seeing something, and it says, "Oh, it's only 8 minutes long. I can quickly watch that." Yeah. It's quite nice. And one thing we said when we were in York was that seeing 5 or 6 films one after another, you don't get time to digest them. It is quite nice to literally just watch one film, you know, and then go and do something else and come back. And I don't know if I'm going to get through all of the films, because there's over 300 films, but I'm going to certainly continue for the rest of the month. and watch as much as I can, really. And as you'd expect, some things are better than others. You know, some things are brilliant. Certainly one of the films, and I've tried to see as many as possible of the award-winning films. I haven't seen all of them yet, but one of my choices is one of the award-winning films, and it won't be the one you expect. Okay, so do you want to start? Do you want to yeah, there's the teaser. You know.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, we probably saw 60, 70, 80 movies each.
Yes.
And there's more than 300.
Yes.
So at best, combined, I mean, we sat somewhere in the same room, right? But at best, we've probably only seen 25, 30% of the content.
I would have thought so, yeah.
And when we do the top 5, it's based on the fact that we've only seen 20 or 30%. So as you found, there was something better than you'd already seen during the event.
Yeah.
So I think also worth saying for me, only my second time in York. I think I went years and years ago just as a tourist. Probably went to the cathedral and back.
Yeah. It's called a minster. Yorkies get very... Yeah, it's not a cathedral, it's a minster.
It's a big church.
A Rosewing is worth a visit. I don't know how much it costs now.
But wonderful city. The festival was well organised. They had lots of staff. I don't know if I guess some of the staff were either volunteers from the university.
There were people with volunteer staff volunteer logo lanyards.
But there was plenty of staff. If you needed help, they were always on hand.
They were really friendly as well.
The venues were all good. Everything was run efficiently. Everything started on time. I can't believe how many pubs there are in York. I sampled as many as I could.
You didn't do 365.
I did more like 5 of the 365. But lots of pubs, lots of coffee houses. All of them were full. Yeah. Lots of nice people around the city. Felt, safe. Everybody was there. Was kind of there for a reason. To I guess absorb some of the culture, which was really good. And I had my own personal guide.
You did, yeah. We went down the Shambles.
So what's
which is Harry Potter land.
Right.
These days, but
so it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
It was great. And actually, it was great for me. It was really good to go back home because although I've lived close to York for the last 10 years, I lived 16 miles away. We would only ever come into York, do one thing like go to the cinema or theatre, and then go out again.
Yeah.
For me to wander around for 5 days was something I haven't done for probably 10 years or even longer, and that was really quite fun to actually go to it. I know where everything is still, more or less. A few of the shops have changed, but that's normal. Really.
It was a great 5 days. Apart from the ball ache of a journey back.
Yeah, and actually, I have to say, I was sad when it was over. I was.
Yeah, no, it's a good few days.
It was great.
Very good. So the first one of my 5 was actually a masterclass. So there was a number of masterclasses throughout the whole event. I think we did a couple. We did 3, I think maybe. But one that we sat in together was how to craft an iconic score.
Yeah.
A guy called Simon Franklin, who's a film composer, music composer for films. I think he came in at the back end of Titanic, and then he did Avatar. He did Avatar 2, which was out last year before. And he's preparing to spend all of 2025 on Avatar 3. And
then onwards, apparently, because there is going to be Avatar up to number 7, I think.
Right. So he's well partnered with James Cameron, the director, and talked about his style, and he's kind of, he's very intimate with him. It was, the subject matter was interesting anyway, but I think his delivery, the fact that he's a guy... he must spend a lot of time all around the world. Hollywood. He's big movie shot, but he took the time out to come to York to talk to a bunch of us in the room for an hour. It's some interesting things that he said. He said, writing for film is not like making music. No. Forget it if you like writing songs. It's not about that. It's the scores at the bottom of the food chain, at the bottom of the totem pole. He called it. The film must win. Dialogue is number 1. Yeah. Don't have any grand ideas about, you're not showcasing your music, which was interesting. He said his job was to manipulate your emotions and really to kind of complement what's going on.
I like the way that, because he had some great examples, but I like the example, one of the first ones he did, he showed us a piece of film without any music at all, and then he changed the music, didn't he?
He layered it back up. So here it is without orchestra.
Yeah, without orchestra, but with other music. And that was really quite, because, music does make things happen. in that sense. Or it affects your emotion.
He showed us the different layers, how you can layer it on to give a different emotion. Yeah. And some insider tips he was talking about, not only is width important in music, but the frequency spectrum as well. Yeah. So he talked about when there's male voices, he scoops out some of the low mids. When there's higher female voices or children, he takes out some of the high mids. And so he said it's all about that.
That's something I would have never thought of, actually.
No. You used to kind of take it for granted that they're having to do that.
Yeah.
So it was very good. It was very educational. Good to see somebody who's been there, done it, got the badges, and I say, taking time out to talk to us. Took questions in the room. We went up and said hi, well done at the end. So it was good.
So I just picked 5. I picked all films, although I completely agree with you. The masterclasses that I went to were excellent, all of them. And some of them went together. So my first choice is actually from Escape Plan Animation 2. And this, I think this one should have won the award, but what do I know? This is A Wind and the Shadow, which a mother confronts her biggest fears and uncertainties. The times between reality and memory blur in a profound moment when her daughter bravely opens up and discusses her illness. It was beautifully animated. It was a really captivating. It wasn't very long. It was only 8 minutes 51 seconds, so just under 9 minutes.
Where is the film made?
It's made in Ireland, and he had with the Irish note in the voices as well. But it was absolutely brilliant, and it was nominated for one of the awards. It just didn't win. The panel didn't choose it. I thought it was amazing, really. So definitely worth a look if you fancy that. And it's only 9 minutes of your life.
I'll mark it up to make sure I watch it.
Yeah.
I only did one session of animation.
Yeah. I'm going to go back because Tennis Orange, which was on in the same block, I arrived late for it and I missed the first 4 minutes. So I'm going to go back and watch that because that looked like a nice, gentle.
You came in at the end of it, didn't you?
Yeah. And I got what was going on, and that's the beauty of the online thing. I can go back and look at films that I saw a bit of, So do you want to pick your second?
Yeah, so the next one, these are in order that I saw them throughout the event, which is
we're not picking the best
overall.
We're not doing that unless you want to do that, but we're just picking 5 which you think are brilliant.
Yeah, 5 notable.
Yeah.
So my next one then is a documentary. It was called The Ban. It was advertised with a little picture of Robert Kilroy's Silk.
Yeah.
So it was UK film. The director is Roisin Agnew. It was 25 minutes long, so on the longer side of the short films, but still felt okay.
I've watched 10 minutes of it today, and I'm going to watch the rest of it. I thought it was brilliant.
Scene setting already, right?
I mean, I remember the subject matter, but I was engaged, So
it was about the conflict in Northern Ireland. Thatcher's so it was the time of the Thatcher's government. So I was kind of at school really and oblivious to what was going on in the wider world. But
I was working, but I was a youngster.
So Thatcher's government, they basically inflicted a 6-year ban on broadcasting the voices of any members of Sinn Féin. The UK government's policy at that time, they wanted to starve them of the oxygen of media or publicity.
Which he didn't do.
No, I mean it was censorship in any other way.
It was, yeah.
And actually, all publicity is good publicity is kind of how it turned out, and the film talks about that. So lots of archive footage, and as it moves through the film, it pivots and starts telling the story of the film from the actor's perspective. So basically, they were still filming out in the streets, still filming Sinn Féin and all of those guys, but to broadcast it, they had to bring in actors. So basically, any actors in London
with an Irish voice,
they were happy days, despite the conflict of interest. So they were on the payroll, covering the stories. Everything had to be turned quick. something would be filmed, and 2 hours later be broadcast. You needed to get there. They'd be getting calls at 10 p.m. at night. They'd have to come into the BBC studios to get it filmed. They were even told to do it badly. So there was a period in time.
I haven't got to that. But
So the early start of the 6 years, they were dubbing it, and they were dubbing it professionally, as you would. And then there were, it came down from Whitehall or whatever. You've got to do it bad, mismatch the timing, the sequencing, even do almost silly little voices. Which is why they did the sketch from the day to day. With the If you saw that.
I haven't got that far yet, but I do know.
So obviously a very important time in British Irish history. Significant moments of that time. The documentary was done a very serious topic, but a little bit light-heartedness as well. So
it struck me as a proper documentary, because some of the things that I've seen in the documentary section I wouldn't have called documentaries. They're interesting pieces, but they're not documentaries. This is a proper documentary.
Absolutely, 25 minutes, and it educated me about that period in history that I knew very little about. I watched quite a few of the award-winning ones, and before I get onto my second choice, I did look at the artist's film one, which won an award. This was something called Beacons. This is not a choice, actually. I want to make a comment on this. So this was a piece. It was a piece of music. So it's 23 minutes, so it's quite long. It's under Self and Society Artists Films 3. It did win an award. It was filmed beautifully. The way it looked was amazing. But actually, as a piece of score, music score, there was bits where it just sounded like Morse code. Like they were tapping out bits of Morse code as though that would be the dialogue. Now, I get the point of actually taking something like that as inspiration to make a piece of music and getting 8 composers to do that. But as a whole piece for 23 minutes, it didn't quite work for me. Anyway, it won an award. Go see for yourself, make your own mind up. My next choice was also... I'm going to go watch that one.
Yeah, so that was called Beacon, and it's under Artist. So my next one was, and this is the link really, because this I have tried to see as many of the award winners as I can in the last couple of days, but this one won Best Dance Video. Now we haven't watched any of dance stuff,
I got one in a pick and mix section. I did in the afternoon.
And I have to say, sort of quite an electronic score. It's by a Chinese artist. It's called "Where Do Ants Sleep at Night." It's got nothing to do with ants, right? It's quite dystopian, but the choreography is breathtaking. Dean Wei, China, last year 2023. It's 20 minutes long. A man and a woman suffer from the same terrible disease. They do not fit in. Full stop. Their world, which is a bleak office space, is disrupted when a pigeon flies through the window and wreaks total havoc. That doesn't sell it. Nowhere on earth does that little bit actually tell you what this is about. This is a phenomenal piece of choreography, and I'm not really into dance. And the reason we've avoided looking at dance stuff is because it wouldn't really
feel wrong for us to comment.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely stunning. It's filmed beautifully. The way the dancers move is just, I've never seen dancers move like that, and it's absolutely brilliant. So definitely worth a look. I give it 2 ticks and a best. It did win. So that surprised me big time.
I'm marking these up. I'll go.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So your next one.
So back to me.
So your 3. This is your number 3, isn't it?
It is, yes. So I had a session of watching adverts, 18 adverts in a session.
Yeah.
So some were true adverts, Calvin Klein. There was like an advert for some diamonds. It was an advert for a brewery. But some of them were kind of information films or raising awareness films. So the one I picked out from that was called Sorry I Didn't Quite Catch That.
Just found it here, look.
It's a UK film. Daniel Liak, Liakh, not sure how to pronounce it properly. A 3-minute film. It was a short comedy, a film to raise awareness of International Stammer Awareness Day. So it was about a lady, and she wanted to return something back to the store. And it was a coffin.
So she bought the picture with the coffin.
So she bought her own coffin and didn't like it and wanted to return it. So that was the first gag. And she's trying to navigate the automated system. So press 1 for this, press 2 for that, press 3 for that. It's voice command as well. She's got a stammer, so she's struggling to respond to the voice command on the automated messages.
Oh yeah.
So it goes through that, because now it's not even press the button, it's say what you're here for, right?
It's worth mentioning, it's quite an aside, but they had a gentleman on Radio 4 yesterday lunchtime, and he had quite a bad stammer, and rightly the interviewer waited for him, but he was really struggling, and you don't hear people with stammers on mainstream media that often anymore. And I was quite pleased because he managed to get his point across. He was articulate, but he just struggled with the speech impediment, really. And that was quite rare. But like I say, I was yesterday on. But they did give him as much time as he needed, which can be quite difficult on a news show when you've only got on radio when you only got 10 minutes or whatever. But no, they did it. So it's.
So important subject matter. They did it with a comedic twist. Eventually she got through to a human being who was freaking useless. Wasn't interested in what she'd say, and it ended and she was very frustrated. But really worth seeing. It shows the power of what a little movie can do, just to put things in people's conscience. It's good. Fantastic.
I used to have a friend growing up who had quite a bad stomach, and he used to really upset him when I was trying to finish his sentences. As kids do. You can't help it. I go, I'm sorry, Vince. And he would get really upset with me. But that was me being insensitive as a child. So my next one, so my number 3, should have got a page ready, shouldn't I? I have got. Is, and we've covered this one before, but this was Fairview Park. So this is under Ripples of Consequence, Drama 11. I think you need to watch this. I don't want to give too much away, because the bit at the end, this is the one that made me go
okay
at the end, and I don't want to tell you the whole thing, but I'll just, so it says here, Declan Finn is preyed upon by a gang of self-described queer bashers in Dublin in 1982, and I don't want to say any more than that. All I want to say about it is it's 13 minutes, just under 13 minutes 58 seconds, so 14 minutes. Ellie Hodgetts and Amaric Nicolette are the filmmakers. Go see it. So it's brilliant. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely watch that.
Yeah.
Because you liked another one in that section, One Punch, but Fairview Park was better.
Fairview Park was, One Punch was good. They were all good, actually. All 5 of them. There's 5 in that. They were all. The only one I had not a downer on it, but I thought the ending of Do Not Resuscitate wasn't quite finished enough. But I liked all 5 of the films, but that was the one that stood out for me. And at that point, when we were after watching it, I thought, when we actually come to do, that's got to be in my top 5.
Right, and it stayed there.
It stayed there. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Good. I'll definitely go and watch that.
Yeah.
So number 4 for me was I had to put an experimental one in there.
Of course you did.
I very much got into experimental. So it was called Square the Circle. It was a Finnish movie. Directed by Hanna Hoviti, Hovitie. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It was a subtitled film.
Mulla on avaruusahdistus. Olen diagnosoinut sen ihan itse. Se ilmenee siten, etten voi katsoa äärettömään. Jos en näe asioiden loppua, mulla tulee siitä jännä olo. Oikeastaan sellainen ällötys.
It was shot somewhere, it didn't really matter where it was. The majority of the film was through a spherical lens.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, so the whole film, there's only one part that it broke out.
But there was one bit where it was a spherical lens within another spherical lens, so you picked up on that. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was really, really well shot. Yeah. So there was subtitles, there was a story. I didn't really follow the story because first I was following the visuals.
I didn't either.
Second, I was following the music because it was really good music as well, all granular and glitchy and lots of reversing that really suited the film. Sometimes, much like the masterclass, sometimes music can get in the way.
Yes,
they absolutely supported it. So I guess the way I would watch films is I do the visuals, listen to the music, and then understand the story if there's subtitles. So I do need to come back to it again to really understand the story, but it was really, really captivating. I'm going to definitely go and watch it again,
right? Just
to take it all in. I think in the cinema was probably the right place to see it.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing about watching it on smaller devices. Seeing them in big screens does work sometimes much better than seeing them on a small iPad.
Yeah, and you've got distractions.
I mean, when I was lying in bed this morning watching it with my cup of tea, I had to pull the curtains because the light on an iPad reflection and things like that, which you don't need to worry about in a cinema. you know. No, it was a good piece, and I stopped looking at the subtitles, and I liked the voice.
Yeah.
Listening to that sort of the finished lilt of, you know. So I had no idea what it's about, but I didn't care what it was about.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter at all.
You were able to follow it. So it was nominated. It didn't win the experimental session, but it was nominated. But very good, very very good. I'm going to watch that again.
I have marked it. Well, right. Oh, I've just realised something. I've got 6, not 5.
That's okay.
So my next one, because I'm thinking, well, while you were talking, I'm thinking, I'm sure I had something in experimental that I really wanted to add, and I have. So my next one, so we're going to go for a 6 from me. So it's 11, top 11, if you like. Is Dream Car Wash, which is again drama 12. Saw this on my iPad yesterday. And this is another one about dance, actually. So it's this girl, she's Sarah, and she's got a dream of becoming a dancer, and she works in this really, I mean, the set, it's a real car wash, obviously, but the room that she's in right at the beginning, the ceiling is obviously, it's really run down, is this place. It's a brilliant place that they found to actually film in. And her boss is threatening her to, you know, because she's arrived slightly late and all this sort of stuff. It's a real dead-end job, but her dream is to dance. And she sort of arrives, and then she does a little dance before she has to go out and clean cars. It was only 12, just under 13 minutes. Fantastic film, UK film. Eduardo Brig, apologies Eduardo if you ever see this, but Eduardo Brighenti, I think his name is. But it's, you know, and it says here it explores the resilience of the human spirit in the pursuit of its dreams.
So it was shot in the UK, yeah?
Shot, yeah, I would say it was. Yeah, it could have been any major city with a grotty. Well, any European city, but any British. Certainly, there's plenty of grotty car washes around the UK in inner cities, and it was one of them. And like I say, where they found it, it could have been Leeds, Bradford, London, Birmingham, anywhere. And it was a really good piece. You know, fantastic, really. So yes, that's my number 4.
So my number 5, and then I'll let you finish with the double then.
Okay.
So my number 5 was I went to the VR lab on the last day, on the Sunday.
You did,
I went to the
and
VR lab.
I did go, but I didn't realise I had to book in.
So it's very good. I mean, the people running it were very good. They were, you know, very aware of you may only be doing this for the first time, so it kind of helped you with the gear, helped you with what you were expecting. The guy running it, I think John was his name. He was very helpful, very passionate about what he was doing. I had a chat with him about the technology and what the future holds, because it's fairly new within the industry. Right? People have been watching movies for 100 years.
Exactly, yeah.
They haven't been engaging with VR for very long at all. So I went once I got the headset on and the headphones on, found the menu and just was tasting a few different films. The first 2 or 3 were like, I'm sitting by the sea, or I'm looking at the mountains, or I'm in a cityscape with familiar, and it was all a bit everything you'd expect from VR. But then the one that I settled on, and I was running out of time, so I didn't actually see the whole thing, but it was called Hunter Gatherers. It's the first Croatian VR documentary film.
Right.
And you're basically placed with a tribe in Tanzania. They're one of the last kind of last tribes on Earth that are still living beyond civilization. You know, they're still living the way we lived hundreds of years ago. So you put the headset on. The first scene, you see them coming out of the forest, out of the jungle, walking by you as they're going and foraging for food. And you follow them because you have to follow them, and you follow them, and you realise you can see everywhere. And you've got a shot of that for they're all kind of scenes that only last a few 5-6 minutes. So I was kind of fast forwarding because I was conscious of time. And the next scene, he was sitting around a campfire with them.
All right,
just having a chat. You're just in there. They're all chatting in their own language. You didn't know what was going on. They were laughing, joking. There was young, there was old. They were passing the smoke around. And I was there.
You were there.
you know, when it first sat you down, the first scene, there was a guy there, and you're just thinking you're watching a guy chatting, but then actually look around, and there was close as you know, it was real. There was a guy sitting right next to me, and I was like, and then you turn around and there was a guy there, and then there was a dog panting. Like, I mean, it was like, whoa! It was mind blowing, and I can imagine a world where that's how you watch movies. You know, it'd be difficult to do because action movies are lots of, you know, they're cutting every 30 seconds, and it's like, but I can imagine something like that that's a documentary, and watching it with a VR headset, and just you just absolutely felt part of it.
Could you imagine watching something like I don't know, David Attenborough?
Yeah, I think it suits for that kind of
type of thing.
Absolutely.
Where, you know,
absolutely,
you're in the middle of the jungle, and you know, there's talking about monkeys, and you're literally that close to them, and
that's exactly where I could see.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic.
You know, you wouldn't watch Born Identity or something.
No, exactly. I'm with you on
it. But documentaries. But it blew my mind, and I want more. It was great.
And interestingly, although, like I say, I'd picked 5, but now I realise I've actually picked 6. One of them had to be experimental, and one I picked. Well, actually, 2 things. One is I tried to watch the winner of the experimental section, which was a film called "You Can't Get What You Want, but you Can Get Me," which is an LGBTQ plus film about 2 trans men, and it's not available. I don't know for what reason, but I searched for it and I couldn't find it. And when I found the section, it's under the "I Am Changing Because of You" section, experimental 3. It wasn't. There was only the other 5 films there. Now maybe it's coming. I don't know, but it's not there at the moment as of today. So that, I mean, I wanted to see that.
So that won the award. I mean, it was an interesting story. It was a year in the life of those guys, and one going for an operation.
Did you see it?
I did see it.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put it as the award winner. Personally, it was good.
The one I liked from experimental, which I know that you liked as well, was the 20th Century Cinematic Nail Factory, and I gave it an asterisk and a tick. I haven't worked out whether 2 ticks means anything or not. But if I put an asterisk, it was meant to be down. I just didn't put a tag in. It's an alternative realities, experimental 5. It was 6 minutes 53, so 7 minutes.
Also Croatian
film, and I like the fact that we might not have seen the same film. The fact that it was random, and I'm a big fan of certainly random music, or generating random, you know. And I love the idea that each of the shots was different. Now we may have watched the same film in the sense that they've then hard coded it for the festival. That's cool, but you might see it again, and the shots would be in different. It
would be smart if they do that.
Yeah, I just thought it was fab, you know, and being able to see where you were along the sides. I mean, what we really needed to do. Actually, I tell you what, I can go back and watch it again and again, and I can see what it's saying. So
we just catch the screenshot at the end, because
so what I will
had
do,
the scenes as they were coming up, didn't it?
Yeah.
It said scene number 5, then it would cut and it'd be scene number 16.
Yeah. So what I will do is I will in the comments down below, I will put whether it's a hard-coded version or whether it is really experimental.
It would be smart if it was random every time you watched it.
Yeah, it would.
It'd be hard to do.
I suspect it might not be, but
hard to do.
But I just love the idea that that's what they did. That was great. And the last one is another one that I've seen. I actually saw it this morning, actually. Australian film. It's called Finding Gina, Jia, by Alice Young. 13 minutes and 4 seconds. It's Mia, an 8-year-old immigrant. It doesn't say child, but she's an immigrant child. Is unfulfilled with everything she experiences at home, and she yearns for a Western way of life. So I think she's either Chinese or she's certainly Asian. They're an Asian family, and so some of it is subtitled, but she talks with her brother in English, you know, and it was actually it was really quite delightful. Her mum's getting on her. They haven't got the best relationship. She's sort of looking after her younger brother as well, and the family, and what she sees on TV isn't quite the life that she wants or she thinks she wants. You know, and I wouldn't want to say any more than that because you need to go and watch it. But it was a nice little movie. It was a nice little, and it's a proper movie. It's down the inner strength, and it's under family friendly. I'm not so sure it should have been in family friendly. To be fair, there wasn't anything. There's no violence or any swearing in it. But it's. I mean, if you're taking a child to it, it's quite a deep film.
It says for ages 10 to 16 years.
Right.
So
10-year-old. Will a 10-year-old get it? Because it was maybe. Maybe. Certainly, you'd say 14 and above.
Okay.
If we're looking at sort of categories of, you know. But no, it was a lovely little film.
And that's one you've seen online. You didn't see at the time.
Saw it this morning.
And it just shows there's so much more that we've got to see.
Absolutely. That's why I want to try.
We could do another top 5. Probably after we.
Well. Do you want to meet at the end of the month and see what
we do?
Maybe
recap.
A recap, and so this is an interim top 11. Then in that case, then.
So what was your favourite overall? The nail. A day in the life of a nail.
Oh no,
you don't want to do that.
No, it's not. I don't want to do it. Because we did say before we started filming that we weren't going to do that. But actually, as it's an interim, I think I still really like the animation one, the mother and daughter, and how beautiful that is. And I will go and watch that again, I think. You know,
so that's the leader at the moment.
Yeah, and like I say, I've seen probably about half of the award winners. The only one that I thought, I'll be honest with you, the only one I thought really deserved it so far is the dance one, the Chinese film, which I thought was just mind-blowing, really. Oh, it's worth mentioning, you talked about watching VR. The games and the VR elements you won't be able to see online for obvious reasons. But they are obviously they're in the programme, and they're worth looking out for. You know, if they appear elsewhere, you had to be there. You had to be in the room for those.
But I'm sure you can go play them online, right? If you've got a VR set.
Yeah. I would have thought so.
I don't yet.
No. But so, anything else?
No. So let's do it again at the end of the month.
Right, end of the month. So we'll do it for the 1st of next month. We'll either film it right at the end of the month.
Yeah, it makes sense.
When it's expired. So we'll book a date beginning of December in the first few days, and we'll do it again and see whether the 5
any remain,
or 6 still remain. Yeah, because I have started, like I say, I've started ticking them, and I'm ticking all the ones that I've seen. You know, and whether because there's some of these other strand ones, these sort of features. Some of these features are not there yet either. I tried to look at one of the features, which is slightly longer. They're the 40-minute ones, I think, and some of them are not there. So not everything is there at the moment, but may well be as we go on.
Yeah, let's have a look.
So thanks so much for watching. There'll be other stuff in between now and the end of the month. We're back to sort of synthesizers next week. Thanks so much for seeing you again. Cheers. Bye bye.
See you.